Hello, good evening and welcome to News 360 live from our studio here at Adesanwe Kanda in Accra. I am Martin Asiedu-Date.
And I am Judith Brown. Coming up in the headlines this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine insists he has proved GA Plant's pool was overpaid and evaded taxes as he vows to use court powers to recover funds.
Also coming up, Ghanaians from all walks of life, including former President Nana Akufo-Addo, members of parliament and senior figures from the NDC, commiserate with the family of the late Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings.
Also coming up, National Tripartite Committee expected to conclude negotiations on the new daily minimum wage next week.
And on the international front, experts warn that the continuous gold plunge threatens cedi stability following a more than $300 fall in price in less than 48 hours.
And in international news, Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara seeking a fourth term in Saturday's elections, vowing to build on nearly a decade and a half of consistent growth.
We are live around the world on 3news.com. We are also streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, and we always love to hear from you, so do let your comments come in.
The details now. And members of Parliament on Friday paid a visit to the family of the late Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings to mourn with them. A delegation heavily represented by the leading political parties pledged to support the family in these difficult times. Christian Yali reports.
Solemn and heavy moment indeed at this residence. Members of Parliament from both sides, both the majority and minority, came to mourn with the family. Their visit was for a simple mission: to commiserate and condole with the family over the passing of the former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, and also to mourn with one of their very own, a member on the majority caucus, Dr. Senator Agyeman-Rawlings.
So Parliament is here to hear from the family if indeed what we heard is what actually happened.
The minority leader, Alexander Fiomakin, indicated that the loss is not for any political party, but a national one.
Sir, First Lady, Ekwenyano, Oma Emuyetu, Obiadi one dancers, Yesusano, Yate, Beijing conference, no ne emba, no ka emba sem, Nedukua, Obo, Oche, emba, said the Beya, Yebe Kataya, no friend to ma. Amijidi say emma bebre sua bibi efri no ho enti ye stress say enhye bia ebusua mo ye no monkai say politics na ye de nanso asem we si a Ghana na asem ato no.
Other members of Parliament have shared in this deep and ruthless pain.
I really admire what I've seen about her for so many times, and Zenato happens to be a personal friend in Parliament, and I really commiserate with her.
She's been a pillar. She played her part, she's paid her bit, and I believe that as we gather to mourn her, her life will continue to be an inspiration to all of us, especially the young ones.
She will forever be remembered for some of the enduring laws that we have passed to anchor what she believed in. The interstate succession law, we all know, has made a tremendous, difference in the management of our families and inheritance.
The members of parliament have made a commitment that they would support the family every step of the way until the final funeral arrangement. Christian Yale, TV3 News, Accra.
A related development, her tireless work and advocacy have transformed the lives of countless women and girls, opened doors to education, economic empowerment, and leadership opportunities. The First Lady under the Fourth Republic, Nana Akufo-Addo may have passed, but her legacy lives on. Evelyn Tingma in the following report tells the life and impact the former First Lady had on the lives of millions.
You can call her a trailblazing First Lady and a champion of women's empowerment, and you will not be wrong. She was Ghana's longest-serving First Lady, and she has left an indelible mark on the country's history. She first served as First Lady during the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council, reigned from June 4 to September 24, 1979, and also during the Provisional National Defense Council (PNDC), which ruled Ghana from December 31, 1981 to January 6, 1993. After her husband won the first and second democratic polls in the Fourth Republic, she also served as the First Lady from January 7, 1993 to January 6, 2001. Nana Akufo-Addo was indeed a trailblazer in every sense. Her impact on Ghanaian politics and social development is still felt today. One of her most notable achievements was the establishment of the 31st December Women's Movement in 1982. The movement focused on women's empowerment, education, and economic independence. She mobilized millions of Ghanaian women across the country to participate in income-generating activities, as well as provided them with literacy and financial education. Today, the 31st December Women's Movement markets and daycare centers built by her still exist and are blessings to many.
I just don't know, because she built the market. She built this market that we're selling. Yeah, man, no better market.
The former First Lady contributed significantly to ensure the passage of the Intestate Succession Act 1985 PNDC Law 111, which protected the rights of inheritance of widows and children. Under her leadership, Ghana also became the first country to ratify the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child in 1991. Nana Akufo-Addo leadership and vision inspired many, including other African women leaders. In fact, she paved the way for future generations of women in politics and public service.
It is our sole responsibility to ensure that our nation has in place the most effective constitution that guides our leadership and the most effective policies and strategies that make us a prosperous nation.
As a politician, she was a member of the National Democratic Congress (NDC), but later founded the National Democratic Party (NDP).
I want to change the lives of people like this. I want to improve and change the lives of people like this. Meaning, I will come back not paper, no swap. But the number two direct. Let me show you what a woman can do for this country. Let me show you how I can turn your lives around in a matter of 4 years.
In 2016, she made history as the first woman to run for president of the Republic, further solidifying her legacy as a trailblazer. Nana Akufo-Addo demise on October 23, 2025, at the age of 76, came to many as a shock. Her life's work serves as a testament to the power of dedication, hard work, and a commitment to empowering others, and her legacy will forever be remembered. Evelyn Tingma, TV3 News, Accra.
We're going to stay on the issue of the death of the former First Lady Nana Akufo-Addo. For a woman whose reign was not witnessed by many of the younger generation, the death of former First Lady Nana Akufo-Addo has nonetheless struck a deep chord across the nation. In the last 24 hours, Ghana's internet generation has taken to social media to celebrate her remarkable legacy and lifelong contribution to national development.
Before women empowerment became a hashtag, Nana Kunedu Agyeman-Rawlings was already living it. Nana Kunedu Agyeman-Rawlings was more than just Ghana's first lady. She was a woman who knew her worth and made sure the world did too.
Like Mrs. Annie Jaggi and a couple of other ladies, but not to the extent that I thought we should go. And I was pushing it from the lowest levels to the highest levels, from the village level, the town level, into the cities, to the national level. And then I felt that if we could use the UN Declaration on Women to push the women's agenda, it will make it easier for the men to also accept where we wanted to go to.
From X to TikTok, the internet generation has been eulogizing Ghana's former First Lady, celebrating her as the original feminist icon. The First Lady who did more than smile, and the blueprint for women who lead with confidence. For a generation that never saw her in office, many are discovering her story for the first time and are beginning to realize how much she shaped the space women occupy in Ghanaian society today.
I didn't come to meet her in her tenure of office, but I've heard a lot about her, that she was involved in a lot of women's rights activities.
I think she has been very key in the Ghana's history as where we've come to be. I know her for being the former president's wife, who also passed a few years ago. So it's quite sad. Within the space of 5 years, we are losing both of them.
It's a really sad moment for all Ghanaians. Looking at her impact, I know that she's an advocate for women's rights and also a role model for most women as well. So I feel like we've really lost a hero.
Hashtags like RIP Nana Kunedu, hashtag Ghana Month have been trending as young people share old videos, powerful quotes, and her unforgettable fashion looks. Some posts even joke that she ran so former Second Lady Semira Baumia could walk. Even though most of Gen Z never lived through her era as Ghana's First Lady, her story still hits hard. A proof that owning your power and staying true to yourself never goes out of style. Enyunam Haliga, TV3 News, Accra.
And as much as it is sad that she is gone, we need to celebrate that she lived with us, and some of us were fortunate to have seen what she did while she was the First Lady. Now, more Ghanaians continue to mourn the loss of Ghana's longest-serving First Lady, Nana Kunedu Agyeman-Rawlings, who passed away Thursday morning. Here are some scenes from the Rawlings' residence where prominent personalities, including former President Nana Akufo-Addo and former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, visited to commiserate with the bereaved family.
Away from the tragic death of Nana Kunedu Agyeman-Rawlings, we're going to do some more stories. And the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Anyine, has stated he has evidence to support claims of overpayment and tax evasion against JA Plant Pool suppliers of some drip equipment. The company has earlier denied assertions that it was overpaid $2 million for the import of drip equipment, adding that claims of tax evasion and overvoicing or invoicing by the AJ were factually incorrect. But reacting to the statement by JA Plant Pool, Dr. Ayine hinted he will ensure the company makes the refunds and, if possible, by invoking the powers of the court to compel the company to do so.
At the appropriate time, I will respond. I'll respond. Okay.
But they make the case that all your claims are not true about overpayment, tax evasion, and the rest.
We have investigated and we have the evidence. So if they are making that claim, we'll come out with the truth. What I said, I stand by what I said. All right. And if they want, to challenge it, they can do so. And then if they are not conforming to the demand that I've made, I have the courts to help me to do so.
In more news tonight, the Ghana Refugee Board says 427 Ivorians have formally sought asylum in Ghana. This is ahead of the Ivorian presidential elections on Saturday, the 25th of October. Some Ivorians have fled to Ghana fearing post-election violence, as some major opposition candidates have been barred from contesting. Irama Smith has more on this report.
The visit by the Executive Secretary of the Ghana Refugee Board was prompted by an earlier report by TV3 News of Ivorians seeking asylum in Ghana ahead of their country's elections. The team began its assessment at the Elubo border and the Jewiwaf, both in the Jomoro municipality, observing that the situation at the border was calm. The Executive Secretary of the Ghana Refugee Board, Nana Asare-Bediako, who clarified that they could only account for those who have formally sought asylum, stated that as of the latest update, 427 individuals had formally registered with the intention of seeking asylum.
As of today, we have about 427 asylum seekers. And to date, tomorrow will be the elections of La Côte d'Ivoire. And yet, you can see the border. There has not been any, confusion or anything to cause any problem. Actually, there was a report that over 1,500 people from La Côte d'Ivoire entered Ghana. It's untrue because we are from the camp and we deal with them directly. And when they come, we register them. They tell us their problem. We register, and the asylum seekers, we don't have 1,500 people.
We're staying on the subject matter because Ivory Coast's President Alassane Ouattara is seeking a fourth term to run again, and that election will be on Saturday, the 25th of October, in fact, tomorrow, that is. Mr. Ouattara has vowed to build on nearly a decade and a half of consistent growth, while critics denounce what they describe as a concerted bid by his government to stamp out dissent. The election in the world's biggest cocoa producer pits Ouattara, 83 years old, against two former government ministers, as well as the ex-wife and former spokesperson for the predecessor, Laurent Gbagbo. Ouattara is the only candidate with the backing of the strong political party, making him the clear favorite. And from what's been happening, we are told that it's not as there's some level of tension building up in the country ahead of tomorrow. Let's see what this even means for the entire sub-region and Ghana specifically, because we share a border with them, and the security concerns that are already coming up. Dr. Victor Doke is a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center and a security analyst. Doc, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Martin, for having me. Good day to you too.
Right. What would your reading be of the current security situation in Ivory Coast ahead of tomorrow's election?
Yeah, thank you very much. I had the opportunity to talk to one or two friends there who are, domiciled over there. And what they tell me is it's pretty much calm. There isn't what we think tensions or agitations or whatever, but rather, it's more of those who have alliance or, in the past, alliances with the former president and his allies. Those are mostly the people who kind of like fear for political intimidation and whatnot. But generally, the youths over there have understood the aspect of remaining calm and then understand that even with regards to what is happening, seeking for them by the president or whatever, although most of them are not happy with it, they've understood that violence would not bring anything. The security situation there is pretty much calm. The state authorities there are taking control with regards to remaining vigilant, patrolling, and ensuring that the process goes ahead. But ideally, there isn't much to be worried about with regards to whether we're going to have more influxes of asylum seekers or not. But it's generally those who have known to be strong supporters of, Laurent Gbagbo and close allies. Those kind of fear for their lives because they may be easily targeted, and hence they may want to seek shelter or seek asylum also. But generally, it is calm. People are waiting for the DD to cast their ballot.
Right. I mean, it's comforting to hear that, especially with issues of the history they have had when it comes to elections. But already we are told that in excess of 400 Ivorians have already entered Ghana seeking asylum. What advice would you give our security officers ahead of the elections? They probably should have that information by now, but now that it is just less than 24 hours to the elections, what should the strategy be in terms of protecting or seeding of any kind of influx from Ivory Coast?
It is important that the GRA, Ghana Refugee Board, would be on top of issues, collaborate with state securities, national security, the police, NIB, NADMO, whatnot, immigration and customs. Now, you would expect that there will be collaboration between authorities here and then authorities in Cote d'Ivoire for collaboration and know who is coming in. Now, if you have situations such as this, anybody can come in with excuse of what? Seeking refuge because of political intimidation. The holding area where these people are coming in should be very much protected. Ghanaian state security should have their numbers in there and then ensure rigorous checks of those who are coming in, screening, so you identify anyone who is not supposed to be there, because there could be allegations of Ghana hosting, some kind of groups to counter the government in there, which you don't want to. So you need to screen very well with regards to state authorities. Ghana Refugee Board has to be, on its toes. Now we know UNHCR is no more in the system with regards to the camp or the holding area there. So the onus now lies to central government to push resources for Ghana Refugee Board to be able to meet their objective. Otherwise, then you have chaotic scenes over there. But ideally, security agencies should be able to screen well, identify who is a normal citizens from who has been in the armed elements coming in to seek shelter or refuge. That we should do. I think when we are okay with that, we'll be good to go, and then we should be calm and then coordinate as much as possible. There isn't nothing to worry about, but people will definitely come to seek, refuge.
We are grateful for your time, and certainly will be engaging you more as barely less than 24 hours that election will be happening. Dr. Victor Doke, thank you for your time as always. And other news tonight, the National Tripartite Committee is expected to conclude negotiations on the new daily minimum wage next week. Sources close to the talks say Labour representatives are pushing for an increase of more than 10%. Our Labour Affairs correspondent Daniel Opoko has more in this report.
The National Tripartite Committee is set to announce the daily minimum wage next week. Members of organized labor on the committee are pushing for a higher increase than the current 10%. But government and employers are once again raising concerns about the IMF program and other economic indicators. The leadership of organized labor has indicated that hopefully negotiations will be concluded next week.
By the labor law, it requires that once two parties are engaged in negotiations, either party should not speak about the things until it is finally agreed upon. So any attempt by one party to ambush the other by running ahead to go and communicate do things in order to intimidate the other party. The labor law frowns on it. So once we are at the table negotiating, and to the extent that the negotiations have not broken down, let us leave it like that.
I'm a negotiator, so I don't put my figures out in the public domain. And I also don't expect the government to put its figures in the public domain. It is in the negotiation room that you tango.
After the minimum wage negotiations, organized labor and government will proceed to begin talks on the base pay.
Let's turn attention to security matters. Police Inspector Ahmed Chumesi, who killed his girlfriend earlier this year, will spend the rest of his life in prison. A Kumasi High Court handed him a life imprisonment sentence on Thursday. There's more in this report.
In the courtroom, Inspector Chumesi stood motionless as the judge pronounced the sentence. The court found him guilty of using a service rifle to repeatedly shoot Victoria Dapa, popularly known as Majwa, in the abdomen and chest at close range on April 20, 2023. The deceased was said to be the police officer's girlfriend. The 5-2 verdict by the juror came as a huge relief for the family of Majwa. For them, the life sentence is a necessary measure of justice.
Yamani life a demand was in Madua 2 years, you whom I do a beam. Was say my dear, was say a bushing idea, was saying a bad dear.
I feel not Madua a beda or beda. No, so we pay it. Ubeja say, a mra, ye cheetah kumuno. Ye babon tibeka say, ye good son, ye no memory, and nona, Nebusia for fetchra, or much a tree, aquadano. Ye want to marry. See, I would do kunimidi, yen casapi, Nimum, ye native bisu. A quail for Subia, Robertacum, a brepa of Yasa and Sarubuno. And one ye pray.
Majwa, a young woman with a future ahead of her, was remembered by friends as ambitious and full of life. While the life sentence cannot return a beloved daughter and a friend to a family, they believe that it sends a message that no one is above the law. The verdict brings a somber close to a case that has captivated and horrified the nation, a tragic narrative of an officer who turned his state-issued weapon on a woman he claimed to love. The Defense Counsel has 1 month to file for an appeal. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
You're still watching News 360 right here on TV3. We'll go for our very first break. We'll be back with more news. Do stay with us.
In the global commodities market sold by over 6% in less than 48 hours. An ounce of the precious metal lost in excess of $300 in value, with prices currently sitting around $4,134 per ounce. The worry is that a continued drop in inputs the city will impact the city negatively.
The price volatility hits close to home for Ghana, where gold generates about 64% of total export earnings. So far this year, the gold industry has been a primary driver of macroeconomic stability, earning more than $8 billion and enabling the Bank of Ghana to shore up its reserves and support the local currency, the cedi. Finance and tax expert Nelson Kujoku-Agbeji warned that if the downward trend persists, the nation risks a significant decline in its reserves.
The reduction in the price of gold per ounce is just a corrective measure, because anytime a price of a commodity rises sharply, which is a bit artificial, the price has to correct itself. The marginal reduction in the price of gold is not a worry at all, even though when it continues that way, it's going to impact negatively on our gross international reserve.
Executive Director for the Center for Policy Scrutiny, Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie, points to increased gold outputs as one way for Ghana to mitigate the price shock.
The drop in the price of gold, Ghana can still benefit if we increase volume. You get the numbers by multiplying the price by the quantity that we produce. So if the price is dropping, you can still increase the volume and you will still get the value.
Crucially, both analysts agreed that the long-term solution lies in a structural shift towards value addition exports.
When you are managing an economy and you get to a point that things are not going as you expected, you have to change the gear. You have to look at the other areas. Ghana and many African countries are well known for exporting raw materials. Time to stop our dependence on raw materials.
The diversification principle of the economy, we need to move away from commodities to a more value-added commodities. That when it comes to pricing, arises in terms of volatility, will not be so much affected.
Away from that, Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment Rashid Pelpo says the government is set to review the country's cooperative law. The move follows growing pressure from groups like the Agricultural Producers and Marketing Cooperative Association, who argue that the existing legislation dating back to 1968 is outdated and no longer reflects the realities of modern cooperative operations.
Cooperatives in Ghana are a lifeline for many communities, supporting livelihoods in agriculture, finance, housing, and retail. By pooling resources, they offer inclusive access to credit, markets, and essential services, especially in underserved areas. Speaking at the 2025 SASCA Congress, Africa's largest financial cooperative event, the minister said the review aims to strengthen governance and expand access to financial services for cooperative members.
The ministry is reviewing the cooperative bill, promoting digital innovation, and expanding access to financial services for youth, women, and informal sector access. These interventions underscore our conviction that cooperatives are not peripheral actors in our development story, but central pillars of inclusive and sustainable growth.
Meanwhile, chairperson of ACOSCA, a Pan-African Confederation of National Associations of Savings and Credit Cooperative Societies, Madame Jeanette Magolo, reiterated her outfit's commitment to supporting the government's cooperative agenda.
On behalf of Africa cooperative leaders, I express our gratitude to Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the Ministry of Labor, Jobs and Employment. ACOSCA stands ready to support your efforts in grassroots development and employment creation through strong cooperative structures.
We'll end the segment with updates from the forex and commodities markets. My name is Menu Afo.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Billy Shen. Now, following Ghana's qualification to the 2026 World Cup, President of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okraku, has called for an all-inclusive approach to harness talents and elevate the standards of the Ghana Premier League. He spoke in an exclusive interview with 3 Sports.
In developing the domestic game, in giving visibility to the domestic game, and making sure that players who play locally also have the belief that they can compete at any level. Okay, Benjamin Asare has shown that when given the chance, he can compete. Let's go back to yesteryears, the likes of Amar Senegal, Salif Wansa, may he rest in peace, and co playing the domestic. Habib Sheila Eliasu competed at the highest level of football when they were competing for King Faisal and Kotoko, etc. So it can be done. It can be done, and it takes good team effort, clear vision, support, logistics in terms of logistics to get everybody in tune with what we have to do. And again, I'm saying that Morocco has shown it, Cape Verde have shown it, Comoros have shown, and a lot more. So we have to be strategic in this and look at the key niche areas that we need. So for example, I'm very quick to react when I receive a phone call that there's a striker somewhere, for example.
Because it's a problem area.
It's a problem area, okay. And I mean, we just had a meeting with my team here who are responsible for the GFA Elite Academies, and what my expectations are of them, because this is a key strategy by the FA in talent identification and talent development.
Moving on to some other stories, Minister for Government Communications, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, has cautioned against dismissing Black Stars head coach Otuado, describing such a move as unfortunate ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. He made this comment while speaking in Parliament.
I believe that these calls are a bit unfortunate and they are misplaced, because the man who has guided us to this qualification in stellar fashion is best placed to prepare the team for the competition itself. Because the way national teams work these days, there's hardly any time for the team to camp for an extensive period in order to hone their tactics and prepare for the competition itself. So it will be a tragic mistake to dismiss the coach and hire a new person who will have very little time to prepare the team. The competition is in about 7 months, but in between that period, the team will not be camping for more than 3 or 4 occasions. And that time is simply too short for any experimentation.
Now to the Ghana Premier League, where Heart of Lions picked up a resounding 3-0 win over Basake Holy Stars to move to the top of the table earlier today. The Pando Bay side bounced back from their loss on match day 6 against BBNE Gold Stars with a convincing display. My colleague Mutala Yakubu watched that game and came through with this report.
Day 7 of the Ghana Premier League has given us a lot of entertainment here at the Pando Sports Stadium, where Heart of Lions came out victorious against Basake Holy Stars at 3-0. It ended for the Akpini boys. Now, Heart of Lions needed to bounce back to winning ways after losing match day 6 against BBNE Gold Stars, and they did that against struggling Basake Holy Stars. It took them about 40 minutes before they got on target, with former Heart of Oak winger Kwadwo Obeng Jr. opening the scoreline for them. Then, just before the halftime whistle, we had Michael Efson, who came under heavy criticism at Gold Stars for missing chances, also scoring the second one for them to make it 2-0 before halftime. Now, after the recess, it took a while because Basake Holy Stars were dominating possession and creating all the chances, but goalkeeper Asempa made a mistake where he came out of his post, and Anthony Owusu just had the easier option of hitting the ball into an empty net to make it 3-0 for Heart of Lions. This means that Heart of Lions have now picked up their 4th win in the Ghana Premier League after 7 games. For Basake Holy Stars, they've played 6 games and lost all 6 and are yet to score a goal. Tomorrow, Aduana would also take on Dreams FC. That game will be live on TV3 at 3 p.m. Then on Sunday, it's a big one because Heart of Oak will come up against BBNE Gold Stars. That game would also be live on TV3.
Pressure. Let's look at the fixtures for the Ghana Premier League for match day 7. Of course, we saw Pando Heart of Lions defeat Holy Stars by 3-0. Ediana defeated Dreams. Will face Dreams. Hearts of Oak will face Gold Stars. Karela will face Bechem United. Mediama will face Swedru All Blacks. Nations FC versus 11 Wonders. Samatex versus Hoho United. And Young Apostles will face Brekup Chelsea. Now to some way of updates from Morocco. Kotoko are currently trailing 2-1 to Wydad Casablanca, and the aggregate is 3-1 in favor of Wydad. There's still the second half to play, and Kotoko would hope to bounce back to qualify to the group stages of the CAF Confederations Cup. Bringing an end to the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Billy Shen. Entertainment is up next.
Entertainment. Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, fast emerging Ghanaian Afrobeat artist Ella, born Stella Mensah, has called for support for female artists to thrive in the male-dominated music industry. Now, Ella believes that with the right support, mentorship, and investment, female artists can make significant contributions to the growth and diversity of Ghana's music scene.
The music industry has seen significant changes over the past few decades, with women making notable strides in various roles. Despite persistent challenges, their successes continue to inspire and pave the way for future generations. Iconic female musicians such as Irama Bedu, Asabia Kropa, Akwesue Japan and Abrewa Nana, just to name a few, made an incredible mark on music history locally. Meet Ella, a fast-emerging Ghanaian Afrobeat sensation, poised to work hard to also establish her brand as a force to reckon with musically. Born Stella Mensah, Ella kick-started her career back in 2018 and has some great compositions to her name.
Ella is an Afrobeat artist who is poised for greatness and ready to entertain the industry and then my fans. I've been in the industry for the past 7 years, but I feel like this is the time for me to shine.
According to the Rising Star, many talented women struggle to break through due to limited access to resources, inadequate representation, and societal stereotypes that often favor their male counterparts. She believes that with the right support systems, mentorship, empowerment, and investment, female artists can contribute immensely to the growth and diversity of Ghana's music scene.
So be focused. Don't get distracted. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Just make sure that this is what I want to do, and believe in yourself that when the time is right, it's going to fall in place. So keep pushing. Don't give up on yourself.
Ella emphasized her determination to rise above the challenges, work hard to build a solid brand.
I want to see the brand Ella becoming a household name. I mean, the future is just beautiful. I can't say it all. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I want to be successful in whatever I do.
She boasts of several singles, including Kolom and her latest release, Ginger, a track she believes will thrill music enthusiasts.
Here we go, Ginger. Make I put your brand on me now. She got me a dancer with love. Well, that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. But do stay tuned on the channel for the amazing programs we have for you over this weekend, starting tonight at 8 p.m. with Showbiz 360 with Giovanni Caleb. Yes, I beg your pardon. So my name is Noella Donko. Enjoy your weekend.
Time now for international news.
Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has appointed new service chiefs in a sweeping overhaul of the country's military leadership, the presidency said on Friday, as part of effort to strengthen national scrutiny. The reshuffle comes amid persistent security challenges across Nigeria, including Islamist insurgencies in the northeast, armed banditry in the northwest, and separatist unrest in the southeast. General Olufemi Oluyede was named Chief of Defense Staff, replacing General Christopher Musa, who was appointed just over 2 years ago after Tinubu came into office. Major General W. Shaibu was appointed Chief of Army Staff. Air Vice Marshal S.K. Aneke has been named as Chief of Air Staff, while Rear Admiral I. Abbas has been named Chief of Naval Staff. Major General E.A.P. Undiendenge retained his position as Chief of Defense Intelligence.
And that's it for our package this evening. Thank you for watching. There is more news on our website, 3news.com. I am Martin Asiedudate.
And I am Judith Brown. Do have a good night.